Harry Harlow's infant rhesus monkeys, when given the choice between a wire mother that dispensed milk and a cloth mother that provided only soft contact, spent nearly all their time clinging to the cloth mother. They ran to her when frightened, used her as a secure base to explore from, and showed profound emotional disturbance when she was absent. Harlow demolished the behaviorist view that attachment was simply about food and opened the door to attachment theory. John Bowlby proposed that attachment is not a learned association between caregiver and food, as behaviorists argued, but an evolved behavioral system designed to maintain proximity between infants and caregivers for protection from predators and other threats. The attachment behavioral system is activated by threats, illness, fear, separation, and motivates proximity-seeking behaviors like crying, clinging, and following. Bowlby drew on evolutionary biology, ethology, and psychoanalysis to propose that the drive for close relationships is as fundamental as the drive for food. Bowlby proposed that early attachment experiences are internalized as an internal working model, a mental template for relationships that encodes beliefs about whether the self is lovable, whether others are trustworthy, and whether relationships are safe and reliable. These working models are built from thousands of early interactions with caregivers and become relatively stable cognitive schemas that guide the interpretation of new social situations. A child with a responsive caregiver builds a model in which others can be relied upon. A child with an unpredictable caregiver builds a model of uncertainty and vigilance. One of Bowlby's central concepts is the secure base, the idea that a reliable, responsive caregiver functions as a safe platform from which the child can explore the environment confidently. When the environment is familiar and non-threatening, the attachment system is deactivated and the child explores. When a threat appears, an unfamiliar person, a loud noise, an injury, the attachment system reactivates and the child returns to the caregiver. This exploration proximity cycle is the developmental engine of both curiosity and security. Children without a reliable secure base show restricted exploration and heightened anxiety. Mary Ainsworth developed the strange situation procedure in the 1970s to systematically assess individual differences in attachment. In the procedure, a mother and infant are placed in a laboratory playroom, and the mother briefly leaves twice, first leaving the infant with a stranger, then leaving the infant completely alone. The critical measure is the infant's behavior during reunion when the mother returns. The pattern of distress during separation and reunion behavior reveals the infant's attachment style, what Ainsworth originally called secure, anxious ambivalent, and avoidant. Securely attached infants use the caregiver as a secure base for exploration. When the mother leaves, they show distress, they miss her, and this is normal and healthy. When she returns, they actively seek contact with her, are quickly comforted, and return to exploration. Secure attachment develops when caregivers are consistently responsive and sensitive to the infant's signals. Roughly 65% of infants in low-risk middle-class American samples show secure attachment. Secure infants develop positive internal working models of both self and others. Insecure avoidant infants seem emotionally independent. They show little distress when the mother leaves and actively avoid or ignore her when she returns, turning away or moving past her. This apparent independence is not genuine security. Physiological measures show elevated cortisol in avoidant infants during separation, revealing that they are stressed but have learned to suppress their attachment behaviors. Avoidant attachment typically develops with caregivers who are consistently emotionally unavailable or who pull away from physical contact when the infant signals distress. Insecure anxious or ambivalent infants show the opposite pattern: extreme distress during separation and a paradoxical inability to be comforted at reunion. They may run to the mother when she returns but then push her away, or they may continue crying despite her presence. They also show reduced exploration even before the separation. This style typically develops with caregivers who are inconsistently responsive, sometimes attuned and warm, other times unavailable or intrusive, creating a state of chronic uncertainty about whether comfort will be available. Mary Main extended Ainsworth's work to adults, and Hazan and Shaver applied attachment theory to adult romantic relationships in the late 1980s. They found that adults show stable individual differences in how they approach intimacy that closely parallel childhood attachment styles. Securely attached adults are comfortable with closeness and interdependence. Anxiously attached adults crave intimacy but worry about abandonment and experience relationships as destabilizing. Avoidantly attached adults feel uncomfortable with closeness and value self-reliance over interdependence. Longitudinal studies following children from infancy into adulthood have found that early attachment style predicts a remarkably wide range of outcomes. Securely attached infants, as adults, show better emotional regulation, higher social competence, more positive relationships with peers and romantic partners, and greater resilience to adversity. Insecurely attached infants show elevated rates of anxiety disorders, depression, interpersonal conflict, and relationship instability. These effects are not immutable. Later positive relationships can update internal working models, but the early template has lasting influence. One of the most hopeful findings in attachment research is the concept of earned security. Not everyone who begins life with insecure attachment remains insecure. Individuals who develop close, stable, responsive relationships with partners, therapists, close friends, or mentors can revise their internal working models toward security over time. The adult attachment interview distinguishes between continuous security, those who are always secure, and earned security, those who have developed security despite adverse early histories. Both groups show equivalent relationship functioning, demonstrating that early experience is powerful but not destiny. Attachment theory offers one of psychology's most powerful explanations for why some people find relationships easy and others find them perpetually painful. But the message is not fatalistic. The same brain plasticity that shaped the original working model can reshape it. Earned security is real, and it is perhaps the most important promise attachment theory makes.